Video is primarily for individuals who want to purchase the Hummer H2 or the Hummer H3. For me, I was undecided for a long time. I'm going to talk to you guys later in this video about how I made my decision to buy the actual H2 a few years ago now. Actually, it's been about 2.5 years. We're also going to talk about the Hummer truck. A lot of people don't even know that truck exists. They only made it for 2 years. I didn't even know about it until I was searching the Hummer H2 and Hummer H3. I was like, wait, there's a Hummer truck? What? I had no idea the vehicle even existed. I actually have never even seen one in real life. All right, let's talk about the American Humvee real quick. We're going to go through the Humvee and H1 quickly. When it comes to the Humvee, that's a project vehicle. Simply put, it's a project vehicle. The American Humvee is for someone who, you've got a house, you have another vehicle, you've got a garage, tools, you have the money and time available to work on the Humvee. You buy the Humvee, again, you have to wait, from what I understand, 3 weeks to pick the vehicle up. Then you have to wait 9 months to actually get the SV98 form, to get the vehicle registered. It's kind of like a military title. In some states, you actually can't register the Humvee. So there are some loopholes to get around that. You can't actually drive the vehicle back home. You're going to have to either trailer it yourself or have a third party bring the Humvee back. Spindle nuts on the wheels, I mean, you got to replace those. What will happen is the actual wheel, the spindle nut fails and the wheel goes flying off. So if you ever see those idiots on YouTube who are like, I purchased a Humvee and I drove it 1,000 miles home, they're putting themselves at risk. But you know what's worse than putting yourself at risk? Putting innocent people at risk. You know, there's no reason why a child, a pregnant woman, or anyone for that matter needs to get killed because some idiot wants to make a stupid YouTube video. With that being said, you can purchase Humvees that are titled. Again, even if you would do that, something goes wrong with it. How many mechanics do you know you can call them up and say, hey, I've got a Humvee, I've got a M11 2.3, can you take a look at it? They're gonna say, hey, I'm booked. So again, with a niche vehicle like that, you're gonna have to find a mechanic to work on it. If you can't figure it out yourself, if you're in a remote area, again, you're gonna have to learn everything yourself on the vehicle. So that's a massive project vehicle. The Hummer H1, again, it's more or less in the same realm of the Humvee. I guess the only bonus on the H1 is that they do come titled, and you could technically, if it was in good shape, I guess drive it home. But still, how many mechanics do you know out there that are say, hey, yeah, I can work on an H1 Humvee, no problem, bring it in. So you're adding, compounding a lot of issues if you are interested in purchasing a Humvee or an H1. Those are vehicles you buy. Again, you got the house, you got a backup car, something fun for the weekend to work on. When it comes to the Hummer H2, here it is, my yellow 05 H2. I'm actually about to crack 200,000 miles this week. It's pretty wild. With that being said, they made these vehicles from 03 all the way to 09. If you're new to my channel, I've got almost 100 videos on the vehicle. I'm closing in on 100 videos now. The primary weakness on the H2 is the transmission, the 4L60 and 4L65. That was the transmission used from 2003 until 2007. On average, they last about 125,000 miles. Anything after that's a massive question mark. So I actually recommend setting aside $5,000, upgrade the transmission when you buy it so you don't get stuck somewhere. And if you do your homework and you can get one in good shape, the brake lines are good, it's got the rock bars, all right, and you do your research on this 6.0, you can actually get these vehicles up to speed relatively quickly, okay? Again, you're gonna have to go through my videos. I'm not just saying that for views, I'm saying that to help you guys. You could buy one of these vehicles and it can be I call it a daily project car. You can daily the H2, but you got to understand there's going to be a lot of little electrical gremlins. You're going to have to put a lot of work and time into it. Probably about $10,000, $5,000 to $10,000. That's what I recommend. So if you buy one for 15 grand, I recommend having 10 grand to put into the vehicle for, you know, upgrades. Transmission be 5, fluids, you know, stuff in the engine. You probably could throw 1,000 or so in there. You know, possibly an exhaust upgrade, headers maybe. Now the 6.0 is known for engine drone, exhaust drone. I actually have some wicked exhaust drone that I'm in the process of sound deadening my vehicle, and that has lowered the drone significantly. However, I'm gonna have to get a J pipe installed. I'm gonna have to go to an exhaust expert and have them work on it to get rid of that drone. So something to think about. I took my stock exhaust off because it was totally jacked up. It wouldn't pass emissions with the condition it was in. So if you do have a stock exhaust, that's one of the reasons it's so large, is to stop the drone inside the vehicle. So if you have a stock exhaust, I recommend keeping that on. Now, when it comes to the Hummer H3 versus the H2, I went back and forth. I always wanted the yellow H2. Simply put, that was what made me pull the trigger and go out and buy the yellow H2. You know, it's really important to get your vehicle inspected before you make the purchase. I just talked to you guys about the transmission. Brake lines are known to rust on these vehicles. Make sure the brake lines are in good shape. If everything checks out, all right, with the vehicle, good Carfax, you go through my videos on my channel. I'm not just saying that for views. I'm saying it to help you guys, to give you guys an idea of what you're getting yourself into. You can get these H2s, you know, running extremely well, probably within 6 months to a year. So again, if you buy an H2 and it's in rough shape, it's going to take you a lot of time. It's going to be really frustrating. Mine was in rough shape when I bought it. I got it in, you know, it's looking incredible. And that's just not the camera. That's how good the vehicle actually looks right now, guys. When it comes to the H3, I really love the H3. I like the aesthetics of it. From what I read online, the early H3 model actually had a lot of issues with it. In 2007, they actually cleaned up the majority of the issues, from what I understand. In 2008 and 2009, it's called the Alpha Edition. And when you do have the Alpha Edition, it'll say have this Alpha badging. It'll say Alpha. And what that is a V8 engine underneath the hood of the vehicle. It was a direct competitor with the Jeep at the time. It's a very good machine. The Hummer H3T, also known as the Hummer truck, they made those from 2008, I want to say, up to 2010, 3 years. I think they only came out with 10 or something in 2010, so it's more or less 2 years. It's a truck. It's a killer truck, all right? And it's 4-door. I think it's got a 5-foot bed in the back, or 6-foot bed. It's a very, very good looking truck. I've never even seen one on the road. They're that rare. I was really, actually, to tell you guys the truth, I was down to the H2 or the H3T. I'm sure I'd be happy with either one of them, but again, I purchased the H2 because I've always wanted the H2. I love those commercials as a kid. So for me, if you're down between the H3 or the H2, go with the vehicle in which you intended to first. Oh, I had this plugged in. Let me unplug that. So if you wanted to purchase the H2, you've always wanted to own and drive the Hummer H2, buy the H2. You'll be more happy about it, I promise you that. If you've always wanted the Hummer H3, go buy the Hummer H3. Now, there may be some of you guys out there who you just learned about the Hummer truck and you're saying, whoa, you're looking at pictures on it online, you're saying, this is nuts, I had no idea this thing existed. You're down to the H3T or the Hummer H2. From my personal experience, you're going to be happy with either one of the vehicles. It's a great experience owning any of the vehicles. they're a lot of fun. It's a lot of truck. It's a lot of fun. When it comes to the Hummer H3, that does have the 4L65E. That's the same transmission I have in this vehicle. Again, I'd recommend having $5,000 set aside. If you do buy the H3, get the transmission rebuilt. Now, if the transmission's been rebuilt and you're comfortable and you're with driving the vehicle and it feels good, well, you don't have to spend the $5,000 on the transmission. All right. Heading on to the Hummer EV. All right. I did look into the Hummer EV. Watched a lot of reviews. Went on the forums. It's an interesting concept. I like how quiet the vehicle is. One of the issues when it comes to the Hummer EV is charging. All right. From what I understand, you're getting about 300 miles fully charged, somewhere between like 250, 300. If you are in a short commuting range, the Hummer EV, you can get away with it. If you're someone like me, for example, I drive this vehicle up to Vermont. It's a 13-hour drive. I get about 450 to a tank in this thing. All right. I actually believe I probably could get closer to 500 once I put in some different transmission fluid, and I'm going to eventually put in an SS Trailblazer SS intake. So I probably could get close to 500 at a tank in your H2. That sounds insane, I know, guys. The furthest I've ever gone in my H2 was, I think it was about 385 miles, and I said to myself, oh my God, you know what, I'm at the limits of this capability of the machine, the extended reach, and that's incredible. Almost 400 miles before you need to fill up. When I pull into a gas station, I'll tell you what I do, guys. I start to fill the beast up. I go inside, I go to the bathroom. By the time I come out, I'll usually buy a water or something. By the time I come out, all right, the vehicle is filled up, and I'm on my way. If I was in a Hummer EV, these guys talk about they're stopping and they're getting food. I don't want to get food. I'm going somewhere. All right, I have food in the vehicle. So for that reason, that's kind of why the EV turned me off. Now, if the Hummer EV had like 1,000-mile range, and I'm assuming someday it'd probably get to that point, I'd say, wow, I can go 500 miles without filling up, 600 miles. That's insane. That would save a lot of time. Someday I'm going to own the Hummer EV. I'll definitely purchase one. I'm kind of like a gamer, or I used to be a gamer, so it's kind of almost like a gamer truck. I think it's cool. What else do I have to share with you guys? If you've been sticking with me, thank you. So let's do a quick recap of this video. When it comes to the Humvee and the H1, those vehicles are going to be, project vehicles. If you buy an H2 and it has a lot of issues with it, it turns into a project vehicle. This H2 had a ton of issues. It turned into a massive project. Exhaust I did the headers. I dropped the fuel tank, installed a new fuel pump, U-joints, brake line. I didn't do the brake line, but still. Airbag sensors, this whole 6.0, I literally had to take almost this whole thing apart. Literally, everything needed cleaned in here. Sensors, no joke. Electrical issues. This is a massive project. I mean, you can see that the cowl is off right now because, again, a part broke. Lights. I mean, this thing, it's no joke. Now, if you have my videos, or I should say if you watch my videos and you go through my content, you buy an H2, let me tell you guys, my videos can save you literally like a year of time, if not multiple years of time, with my knowledge and expertise working on this vehicle. I personally rebuilt my transmission. So everything I've done to this vehicle, I actually installed a new door panel, cleaning the vehicle. If you buy an H2, let's say from Texas or Arizona, you're not going to run into a lot of these issues. All right, I ran into one guy, he actually has pine needles throughout his Hummer H2 because that's where he lives. There's pine needles or whatever. So The H3, again, I have never owned an H3. Something needs to be thought about is, you know, these vehicles are 20 years old. My H2 was built or came off the assembly line. It was May 20th, 2004 is when this came off the assembly line. All right, it's a 2005 H2. With that being said, you know, these vehicles are 20 years old, guys. Electrical gremlins. All it takes is one mouse to come in here, have a little party, and you can have an issue. The water leaks. So again, you can own an H2, but it's going to be a lot of work depending on how many issues you're going to have. You get less issues, you're going to have less problems. When it comes to the H3, again, I'm going to assume it's probably pretty close to an H2, especially if you get the V8 Alpha Edition, which I would recommend. A lot more power, torque. That's the engine that I would want. It's also called, in 2009, it was called the HUMMER Championship Edition. What it is it has the V8 under the hood, the Alpha Edition. It has like a special hood scoop on it. It doesn't have a moon roof. I don't have a moon roof in mine. Now, I'm a big audio guy, and I've actually sound deadened the roof. You could, if you bought a SUV with, you know, like mine, or without the moonroof, you could have somebody install the moonroof. So I believe the conversion is available to be completed. From what I understand, can be done. So there's a lot of options out there for you guys. So if you've stuck with me almost, you know, 17 minutes now, I hope it works out for you. Good luck. For me, I purchased my dream truck. I've got my dream car in front of me, and let me tell you guys, it's been nothing short of incredible. The Hummer memories, the adventures, this thing just, it takes driving to a whole nother level. It really is like nothing else. If you're out there and you want to buy an H3, I have heard nothing but great things from H3 owners. They loved the truck. They said it was great in the snow. They loved it. I have met some HUMMER H3T owners, and they have also said how much they have loved the truck. So again, when it comes to the HUMVEE line of vehicles, if you're someone who goes out and you purchase a HUMMER H2, there's the HUMMER H2. I didn't mention this earlier, but the sport utility truck. All right, I had some bugs on my arm. I just blew off. The sport utility truck. I've come across a couple people online who have said they love the sport utility truck. Interesting enough, when I purchased my vehicle, I wasn't into the sport utility truck. I didn't like the look of it. And let me tell you guys, now I love the look of the sport utility truck, and I can't wait to buy one. And I've got the itch right now, ladies and gentlemen, to pull the trigger and buy one. I know I shouldn't do it, but I've just got this really bad habit of spending money. So again, any Humvee, or excuse me, any Hummer vehicle you're going to buy, if you're going to go out and buy the H2, buy the H3, you're going to be happy, or the HUMMER H3T, you're going to be super happy. I have not spoken to Hummer EV owners yet. I did see one in person. It's a beautiful vehicle. The one thing I really don't like about the EV is it doesn't have the handles. It doesn't have the helicopter pad. For me, this is the ultimate sign of cool on the Hummer. It's, you know, again, you're not going to connect to a helicopter, but it's the aesthetics. It looks so sick. So if I bought an EV, I'd probably have to get it customized to get someone to install that on the front of the vehicle. So we're approaching almost 20 minutes now of me, going off on, these vehicles. So we're going to wrap it up. My final comment is that if you want an H3, go for it. You're going to be super happy. If you want a Hummer H2, you're going to be super happy with the vehicle. If you want a little more luxury on the H2, the 08s and 09s have a more refined interior. That's something to look into. I recommend, if you really want probably the best H2s, they're probably an 06 or an 07 limited edition. It's got carbon fiber, the black on black. It looks really good. That's actually what I'm doing to my vehicle right now, converting it over. So again, good luck in your search and your purchase, and I can't wait to hear about it in the comment section below.